Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to a new episode from your program, The Rope That Binds Us, As-Sunnah and Al-Jama'aah. In the last episode, we were talking about the evidence proving the obligation to follow the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Al-Imam al-Zuhri rahimahullah, Ibn Muhammad ibn Shihab al-Zuhri, one of the great early Muslim scholars, said, the scholars before us, and he's referring to the Sahaba, to the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, or to the elders among the Tabi'een. The scholars before us used to say, upholding the Sunnah is the means of survival and safety and security. That's why it's very important for us today. If you want to survive, if you want to be safe, if you want to be together, to be under the umbrella of the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We talked last episode about the evidence from Al-Quran, from the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and now the third evidence that the scholar used to prove that it is obligatory upon all Muslims to obey or to follow the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ijma', consensus, ijma', where all Muslims agreed upon this issue. Al-Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah have mentioned this consensus, that all the scholars agreed upon this issue, that it's obligatory and it's must, and it's something obligated upon all Muslims to do, is basically to accept and to follow the way of the Prophet ﷺ or the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And Imam al-Hasan al-Ash'ari in his letter to Ahl-Thaghar also mentioned that consensus. Also Abu Muhammad ibn Hazm in his book in Usul al-Fiqh, al-Ihkam, he mentioned this consensus. Al-Shawkani in his book Irshad al-Fuhul also mentioned that. This issue is so clear, and I don't, as Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah said, that he doesn't know any scholars or a person who claimed that he's scholars or people recognize him as scholars, he will dispute this fact that it is obligatory upon Muslim to follow the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The fourth type of evidence is a very interesting kind of evidence. It's the observation. What we mean by observation? This type of evidence the scholar used to prove so many other issues as well. This type of evidence is based on the sign that Allah has put on the earth through punishing or rewarding people for their action. So you might pass by some places, certain places, and you see sign that Allah left for us to see it and to learn from it. How Allah rewarded some people for their action, or how Allah punished some people for their action. And there is so many verses in Quran related to this issue, all of them referring to the importance of obeying the messenger. That's why Allah mentioned to us in His book about the prophets and the messengers before Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What happened to their people when they obeyed their prophets and messengers, and what happened to them when they disobeyed and went against their prophets and their messengers. The people of Noah, for instance, in Surah 7 verse 64. فَكَذَّبُوهُ, but they rejected him. What happened to them? فَأَنْجَيْنَاهُ وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ, and we delivered him and those with him. in the fulk, which is the ship that Noah had. And then what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did to those who rejected him. وَأَغْرَقْنَا الَّذِينَ كَذَّبُوا. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that He flooded those who rejected our signs or rejected our messenger. We saved him. And this is about Prophet Hud. We saved him and those who adhered to him. But our mercy, by our mercy, and we cut off the roots of those who rejected our signs and did not believe. فأنجيناه والذين معه برحمة منا وقطعنا دابر الذين كذبوا بآياتنا وما كانوا مؤمنين. Surah 7 verse 72. About the Prophet Lut, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فأنجيناه وأهله إلا امرأته كانت من الغابرين وأمطرنا عليهم مطرا فانظر كيف كان عاقبة المجرمين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah 7 verse 83-84 that we saved him, yani Prophet Lut, and his family except his wife. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned how He destroyed His people who rejected Him. And He said this is a sign, and look, He ordered us to look and to observe and to realize how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished those who rejected their messenger. Thamud, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also told us about them. فَأَخَذَهُمُ الْعَذَابِ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَةً. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that, but the punishment seized them. Surely in this is a sign for us. But most of them do not believe. It's Surah 26 verse 158. Also, the people of Midian, what they did to their Prophet Shu'aib, they rejected him. And what Allah did to them? He destroyed them as well. وَلَمَّا جَاءَ أَمْرُنَا نَجَّيْنَا شُعَيْبًا وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ. When our decree issued, we saved Shu'aib and those who believed with him by our mercy. But the might chastised the wrongdoers and destroyed them all. وَأَخَذَتِ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا الصَّيْحَةَ فَأَصْبَحُوا فِي دِيَارِهِمْ جَاثِمِينَ. There are so many verses in Quran related to this issue. All of them talking in details or telling us about the nations before Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The prophets and the messenger were sent before the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and how Allah destroyed them when they disobeyed their prophet. Let's go to the next one. The last one, the logic. Yes, there is so many logical evidence. You can come to this conclusion, which is the obligation of following the Prophet ﷺ sunnah. You can come to this conclusion even by logic, not by using this evidence, not necessarily the direct order from the Quran or sunnah. And this logic, also there are so many ways to prove it logically. Let's take an example. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in His book that He have taken covenant upon all the prophets and the messengers. All the prophets and the messengers, before Allah created them, He brought their souls all together, standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah told them, if I send Muhammad to humanity, while you are living, what would you do? All the prophets and the messengers said, we will obey the Prophet Muhammad and we will follow Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this fact in Surah 3 verse 81. In Surah 3 verse 81. And you can read the tafsir of this surah, but because of we have a very short episode, that's why I cannot go over all the details, but you can go read the tafsir of the surah, of this verse, Surah 3, verse 81, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have taken a covenant of the prophets saying, I gave you a book and wisdom. Then comes to you a messenger confirming what is with you. Do you believe in him and support him? Allah said, do you agree? This is the covenant. All of them said, we agree. That's why when Isa alayhi salam, when Jesus will return inshallah in the end of the days, he will follow the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's sharia and law, and he will pray behind one of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's followers, which is al-Mahdi. And also the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said once, if Musa alive, he will not leave my message, my book, my guidance to his book or to his book or to his teaching, as in the famous hadith the Prophet ﷺ said that to Umar radiallahu anhu wa arda. So what's the point? The point is, if the prophets and the messenger, they must obey the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, what about us? We should, prior to them, follow and obey the Prophet ﷺ. Another way to prove that, logically. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us to obey our leaders, the scholars, that's right, yes. Allah said, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasuluhu ulil amri minkum. Obey Allah, obey the messenger, and obey the ulil amr, the people in charge, the rulers and the scholars. If we have to obey the scholars, what about the best scholar, the best ruler, which is Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Also, we can prove that in another way. We all know that following Al-Quran is must and it's obligatory. We don't have anybody maybe disagree with us on that if he's a Muslim. Okay, Al-Quran and As-Sunnah both came from the same source. Why would you only take Al-Quran and leave the Sunnah? Al-Quran and Sunnah both came from Allah, both are revelation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَا يَنْطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. Nor does he say anything from his own. Everything he say, it's a revelation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to him. Surah 16 or Surah 53 verse 3 and 4. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I have sent down to you a dhikr so you can explain with it what have I revealed to people. Listen carefully. I have sent down to you the dhikr, so this dhikr, which is the sunnah, to explain to people what I have revealed to you, which is Al-Quran. So I have sent down the sunnah as I have sent down the Quran. So basically a dhikr, which is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, also been revealed from Allah. So if this is the case, it doesn't make any sense that you accept Al-Quran and you reject the sunnah. Also, if you believe the Prophet ﷺ is a prophet, this belief entails that the Prophet ﷺ must always speaks the truth and nothing but the truth. Otherwise, he doesn't deserve to be a prophet. If this is the case, it doesn't make sense to reject his sunnah. Finally, if obeying Allah is must, and there is no way to know what pleases Allah and what does not, except through His prophets and messenger, then following His messenger is obligatory in order for us to please Allah. With this, we come to the end of our episode today, and I will see you inshallah in the next episode.